And his first match back at Parkhead was for Barcelona against us in the Champions League. And I was torn in my head, but I was like, he's my idol, he's my hero. I just need to go and see him. And I remember we got down to the boat, because normally when we're travelling over, we'll go on coaches and boats, ferry over. And the weather was that bad that the ferry was cancelled. And me and my friend went, what are we going to do? And I was like, I need to get over and see him playing. And we jumped in a taxi, went to the airport, and the Glasgow flights were completely booked out. And we says to the girl, what about Edinburgh? And she says, well, the only flight to Edinburgh gets you in, say the game kicked off at 7:45. This would get us into Edinburgh at 7:30. And then we would need like 45 minutes to get to Parkhead. So we'd miss practically near enough the first half. And I says, even if I get to see the second half of him playing, I want to go. And he says, so do I. And we got on the plane. Well, we got into the airport and everyone was waiting for the Glasgow flight and seeing us waiting for the Edinburgh flight. It was right beside each other in a wee room that was just two gates, like 10 and 11.
Yeah.
They were laughing at us because we had booked on the Edinburgh flight. And then they were all celebrating and drinking. And they cancelled the Glasgow flight.
Because the weather?
Because of they cancelled it, I think, because they were at rowdy and they were partying,
Wow.
all drinking. And I just remember we were getting on our flight and the guys who were meant to go over in the ferry and the plane had loads of tickets to the game, and they just handed us a bundle of tickets and says, well, we can't do anything if we're going to be stuck here.
Wow.
So we had all these tickets and we got on the Edinburgh flight. And the friend that was with me, he says, tell the air hostess, he says, listen, we have tickets to the Celtic match. Now it's going to be started, but when we get there, if everybody could let us get off the plane first.
Yes.
Everybody a ticket for the game. So the pilot actually says, can everybody sit in their seats and let these two guys get to the thing? And as we were getting off the plane, the pilot came out and he says, I've just had a text message. It was the first night that Celtic used the computers at the turnstile, so there was no man on it, and the computers malfunctioned, and the game was postponed by 35 minutes.
Mate.
So we were like, oh, this is all meant to happen. We've run out of the airport, and we got till the taxi queue, and we were saying to people, let us in front of you. And this taxi driver was like, jump in. We jumped in, and we were like, do you want to go to the game? And he says, can I bring my son? He says, I'm a Hibs fan, but I would love to go and see Barcelona and Celtic. And he says, whoever you want, as long as it's on the way. And he phoned his son. He says, meet us on the sort of carriageway. And he jumped into the car, and we got the Parkhead, and we jumped out. And we're running till the ground. There was all these kids, and we just threw the tickets up in the air and went, you can get in to see the match. And just
This is a film. This needs to be a film.
And we get into the game, and I sat down in the seat, and I think it was like 16 or 17 minutes. It wasn't that long into the match. And as soon as I sort of sat in my seat, Echo put the ball in the net.